What's up, everybody? Welcome to Southern Life. I am up on the top of Pratt Mountain, overlooking the city of Prattville, Alabama, and I just needed some time to reflect and think about all the things that have happened in my life. In the last 3 months, there's been so many changes in our lives. We went from living in Florida to COVID to moving to another state we've never lived in, a place that has new challenges, a place that has new adventures. So it's been a very challenging part of my life for sure, and I've shared a lot of the experience with you guys. I think as a YouTuber, that's a very interesting thing to do. That's maybe why our channel's been growing so much. We're up to 16,500 people. It's a lot of people watching us on this channel, and through this process, I've been able to share with you guys a lot of my life. I just think I needed a time to reflect. I've been working a lot. I think I need to just slow it down a little bit. My neighbors tell me, you got to slow down, Jose. And I think they're right. I think I do need to slow down a little bit and just kind of look at the trees and look at the river flow and just disconnect a little bit from everything. Reflect and meditate a little bit better. Lots of good things in our lives, as many good things as disappointments. Not everything is always going to work out the way you want it to. But within all that, you learn to be a bigger person, be more responsible. I feel like I was never going to leave my comfort zone and see the world, you know? So Sunday, it's so sleepy down there in that town. Look at that, y'all. It's a very sleepy day. Only thing you can hear is an occasional vehicle and the church bells. Prattville, Alabama, baby. Interesting how I ended up here, and I don't know if we're going to be here forever. There's as many things to love as there are to hate about this place, I'll tell you that much. For every amazing thing we find about this place, we'll find a few others that will kind of disappoint us. So there's been as much disappointment as there has been enjoyment, really. The drop here, I don't know if you can appreciate this on video, but it's a very steep drop off on this hill. It's actually intimidating. I wanted to show you guys the view, but I almost feel I'm gonna just walk back over this way. Actually, I'll show you guys the view. Hello, new 4 weeks early. Have you been to California? I haven't. I imagine it's beautiful. I've met a lot of people from California. Hello from new 4 weeks, easily locked down in Germany. Bars, restaurants are closed. Yeah, it's starting up again here as well. This morning we spent over an hour trying to find a place to eat. The drive-through line, since there's no power because of the hurricane, the drive-through lines were ridiculously long. We're going to go into a place called Please Don't Fall, Be Safe. Yeah, I'm going to actually move back a little bit to be a little bit safer. Sorry. The lines were ridiculously long, and we decided we're going to eat at Cracker Barrel. We just needed to sit down, and we don't have power at the house, so we felt maybe a sit-down restaurant would be a great thing, you know? Since we didn't have power at the house, I figured maybe a sit-down restaurant would be a good thing, you know? Somewhere we can sit down and kind of just, I don't know, have a little bit of normal in our lives. But there was hundreds of people at this Cracker Barrel, and I told myself, I just can't do this. Wow, the fall from up here is ridiculous. This is so steep. It's actually intimidating how steep this is. And I guess there was a Shane here. Wow, this is actually more intimidating than over there. Let's come this way. It's a very intimidating drop off here. It's quite the view, though. You can just make out the entire city of Prattville from up here. There's some beautiful foliage over that way. Absolutely gorgeous up here. But we haven't had power. We just needed. We woke up this morning. We couldn't barely even do our basic stuff. We don't have power at the house, so we felt that we just needed kind of a little bit of normality. So we figured let's just go get some Waffle House or Cracker Barrel. So we went for it, and it was so packed with people at the Cracker Barrel. I told Kate, I said, Kate, we can't go in there. There's hundreds of people in this Cracker Barrel. We can't walk into a building right now. There's hundreds of people crammed into a building. So we said, you know what? We hit up a drive-through. Right now what happens here is if, drive-through, since a lot of people are out of power and stuff like that, the lines at the drive-throughs are just ridiculous. Ridiculous lines at the drive-through. So it's been wild. Like, we woke up this morning and we were just like, wow. Chaos with this hurricane. It's not as unbearable as Florida. Going through hurricanes in Florida has been much more unbearable than this. But either way, there's been a lot of changes in our lives, a lot of challenges, a lot of struggle. It's been complicated these last 3 months. Changes for the better. Do I see myself here in the future? I don't know. I like the place a lot. It's not the place. It's just had to restart with you. Have you ever been to California? No, I've never been to California. I watched yesterday Vegas live stream, people dancing, singing. In Germany would not be allowed Corona. Well, just because it's allowed doesn't mean you should. We were hungry today, and we went to this restaurant, which we like. It's called Cracker Barrel. And there was hundreds of people there. And I told my wife, hey, we've been stressed out. We've just gone through 4 days without power. And not only that, we've had a lot of other things go wrong. He said, don't waste your time, bro. It sucks. Or look at this. Look how majestic this is. I'm sitting on the side of a mountain overlooking a town. You can start to see some of the fall colors in the background. I'm wearing a sweater. It's not too cold. It's not too hot. It's just about perfect. I mean, I'm up on a mountain overlooking a town. This is absolutely gorgeous. This is something you would expect in the Northeast, not in the South, I would never live in California. I might go there to visit, but I would never consider living in California. Signal's surprisingly good up here, we're up on a mountain. I uploaded a video. I had some trouble getting onto the live stream, which I think it's some technical glitch because I just uploaded a video and it must have taken me 30 seconds to upload a 2-minute long video. I was impressed. I've never seen YouTube upload that fast. So you're able to upload fast, but you're not having trouble with the live streams for some reason. The phone is going to die eventually. The battery life will go out on my phone. It's kind of low. Part of not having internet, not having anything really. The phones are dead. Struggling to charge the phones with the vehicle. We're charging all our devices out of the vehicle. So it's been a little difficult. But I'm glad to just be up on this mountain and think about a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, people here can't get over the past, man. It's a beautiful place. California is too expensive. Yeah, I'm sure it is too expensive. Lived here all my life, but you don't want to come visit, bro. You live here. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, I understand. With the whole COVID lockdown situation, I don't even know what's really happening in the world right now. The World Health Organization belongs to the United Nations, an organization that I don't trust. Who knows what's really going on in the world right now? The world is just... it's disappointing. We are living in difficult times. And there's a lot of good people out there. There really are, in all directions. But I think we're being conditioned to just not care about each other as a society. I don't even know anymore. When you look at the beauty of this place, look at the yellows and over there in that mountain over there, you can start to see the colors. I mean, you're looking at it through a TV screen. I'm seeing it in real life. It's so beautiful and peaceful and quiet. But underneath that beauty, I mean, there are people here trying so hard. You know, like, I think one thing that I appreciate about Alabama is that there are a lot of young people here trying to do something with themselves. There is potential. There are people trying to do better. But there's so many people that have just given up, man. Just given up on life. They've kind of been betrayed by the people that are supposed to help the community, the people that are supposed to be taking the leadership in the community, and they're supposed to be doing the right things in the community, have been the ones that have kind of betrayed the community. And instead of trying to help, they've just become, they just judge everybody as wrong. I do sound depressed. I am depressed, actually. I'm happy, but I'm depressed. I'm I I'm content with me. Like, I'm really happy for me right now. I'm happy for Jose. I have found tranquility. I have found, for me internally, it's an exterior. You know, like, sometimes you're troubled by yourself. I've never been more at ease with myself. I'm just troubled by society itself, you know? Um, I've never been more at ease with me than I am now. I guess living out here, you do lose stress. You have hopes of coming back to America in 2022. I mean, just because your country's in a lockdown, look, right now, I'm on a mountain. I'm the only person here. Look at how beautiful this is. Down there in the city, in Prattville, there's restaurants that have 200 people trying to get in right now. There's lines right now to get in the restaurants in that city down there. Now, this is a historic core town, and a little bit further that way, you can just make out downtown. Let me see if I can give you guys a zoom in of downtown. You can just make out Main Street right there. Down the center of the screen, that's Main Street right there. I know we'll lose a little bit of quality trying to show you guys downtown, but right in the center of the screen is Main Street. There's a lot of people trying to get into restaurants down there. And they're doing Halloween parties, and that's, you don't need, look at this. Look at how majestic. I'm the only person up here. I got this whole place to myself. Sitting on this hill, overlooking a mountain. It's all to myself. Like, I don't want to be in front of a TV screen looking at TV, or I'm content, like, right here looking at this. You know what I mean? So, like, I understand your lockdown's been tough on you, but, and especially in your country where they're actually trying to do something about it, people here in the United States are too selfish to try. Society as a whole can be very disappointing. It is. It is disappointing. But it's what you make of it, too. Like, look at me. I'm up on this mountain. I'm the only person up here. Just me and my own thoughts. Listening to the birds. Can you guys hear the birds in the background? This is beautiful. It's relaxing to the soul. I'm not stressed. I'm not worried. I could dwell on a few negative things, but I'm not trying to do that right now. This is absolutely gorgeous. Like, life is what you make of it. Like, there's beaches in some places. There's parks. There's mountains. You shouldn't be depressed. Don't worry too much about the world. The problems of the world are not yours. Unless you're being bothered by others, you shouldn't be depressed. Well, I don't think I'm depressed. I like, look at this. I wouldn't call it depression. I would call it disappointment. And it's not in me. That's the other thing. Like, it's not in me. I'm content, you know? It just seems like we try to judge other people. And we try to, like, I don't know. It's a little disappointing to look at society, let's just say the least. But there are things you can do if you're trying to, your country, Germany's in a lockdown. There's beautiful stuff in Germany. You can go for a drive. You don't have to stay at home. We be back in lockdown because here in Germany, Hundreds of thousands celebrated every weekend, no social distancing. They're celebrating down there. At least you're experiencing new stuff. The same stuff is always going on in Florida, not missing anything. Yeah, exactly. This is a whole new experience. Can you guys hear the church bells in the background? You hear the church bells? There's a lot of churches down there. I don't know if you guys can hear the church bells. No, definitely life is bringing me to new experiences, new adventures, and that is amazing. To experience new places, new sights, new everything, new cold weather, all these new experiences to soak in. Yeah, we can hear the church bells right there. There's one of those. There's countless churches down there. Um, Countless churches, that's for sure. No, you're right. Like I am experiencing new things, and if you're in a lockdown, you know what blows my mind about this place, and it's just like, wow, okay, so people that live here think it's boring. Why? You can sit up on this hill and look at this town. It refreshes your soul. There's creeks, there's parks, there's things to do. If all you do is sit at home and watch TV, or like, I don't know, I just find it odd that there's 200 people trying to cram themselves into a Cracker Barrel during a pandemic. Yeah, here's this mountain and it's empty. Nobody up here in this park. It seems that people are trying to fill their, like, there's a void in their life that they're trying to fill with so many artificial attractions and activities. Yet, like last night, we didn't have power last night. That could have been a very miserable experience for us. You know what I did? We made a huge fire and we burned a bunch of stuff. We lived life. We didn't have electricity or power. We lived life. Like, I burned 20 fence panels, a sofa. I picked up branches that were laying around my front yard from the hurricane, and we burned all that. And I worked on my property. I didn't have time to think about anything negative because, and I'm at the point where if I take on jobs, I take on jobs at my own leisure. Like when somebody calls me, I'll say, okay, if I'm not doing anything, I'll go right now. But there's no set schedule or structure to my life right now. It's an incredible sense of freedom. A lot of people live a scheduled life. Like, to obtain that freedom from a schedule, from a commitment, from obligation, responsibility, you have to make so many sacrifices and take so many chances to get your life to a position where you can have that type of freedom. And a lot of people are afraid to do that because they feel that it's dangerous. But the only thing that's dangerous is not experiencing life. You know what I mean? So a lot of people told me that economically I was going to suffer here in Alabama, and I'm not suffering economically. I'm actually better off than I was in Florida economically. Um, a lot of people told me I would face racism from white people, and I've actually faced racism from black people. So it's been like a totally weird package of unexpected experiences. And you guys are right about, I don't have to pay attention to that. I don't have to dwell on that. I can just ignore that aspect of it and just keep living my life. But my mind keeps going back to it because I feel that we should be better. I feel like as a society we should be better. But people have limitations and capacities, and we're not all capable of obtaining the same things. We all have different skill sets. Friends from Miami said to me, pack your things and come out here, but unfortunately I am not allowed as a German European. Yeah, I mean, I like Miami. Let me tell you something about Miami. I don't like the traffic. I don't like doing business in Miami. If I had like $2 million right now, I would be living in Miami. If I had $1 million, I'd probably be living in Miami. The social fabric of Miami is incredible. It's just living and working there is a nightmare. I'm heading out of Florida and going to the mountains. Someone raised money on GoFundMe and put it in their personal account, so I have nowhere to live. So depressing. I'm heading out of Florida and going to the mountains. Someone raised money on GoFundMe and put it in their personal account. So now I have nowhere to live. So depressing. I live on the beaches and party in Miami. It's not even the parties in Miami. It's just like I don't even know how to explain it. Like if you live in Miami, you got it made. Either way, somehow. Even if you're poor in Miami, you're still in Miami. You came from another country where it was worse. Like Miami is still Miami. I actually miss Miami more than Naples. How's that, man? Miami has energy like New York City. Yeah, Miami has a better energy than New York City because New York City's energy is weird. Compared, Miami is Miami. Like nobody says I have to go to New York City, but you have to go to Miami. If you know Miami, you know what I'm talking about. It's a place. If I will get myself economically. Like the thing is, like money isn't made where it's enjoyed. Like that's how a lot of people just don't understand that. Like I met a lot of really well off people in Naples, Florida, and none of them made their wealth in Naples. They all made their wealth somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like they all made their money in a farm in Iowa or something. You know what I mean? Like nobody actually made wealth in South Florida. I mean, like like it's a trade off. Life really is a trade off in every single aspect. Like you're never gonna get everything out of a place. So you better just start getting content with what you have in front of you at the moment. Everything is a trade off. Like you're upset because you're in Germany. Do you know how many people in Cuba right now wish they were in Germany? You actually inspired me to move to this month from South Florida. I'm moving to Georgia. I've lived in Florida my whole life. Thank you. I'm glad I was able to inspire me. Go out there and experience life. See the world, And there's something you have to understand if you're moving, that there's the initial face value of a place. And then there's the long-term commitment of living there. Two totally different things. Like, at first glance, you might look at this place here in Alabama and be like, feel a certain way. But then after being here a while, you feel a totally different way about it. Same thing happens with Florida. Some people look at Miami and Florida like, oh my gosh, beaches and sunny days and what an incredible place to live. But that's not the realistic long-term reality of living in that place. And keep in mind, too, that I came to Alabama with about $110,000 and also with income from YouTube. So with a net worth a little bit into the, not quite 200,000, but with something, like moving with nothing would be a totally different experience, I guess. We moved from Cuba to Kentucky with nothing. I remember that. And when we left Kentucky for Florida, we came with nothing as well. So for me, moving with money has been a blessing because many of the things that could have been nightmares have just been, all right, here's some money, throw some money at that problem and let's fix it, From here, we can definitely see Prattville in its entirety now, the historic district. Yeah, time to reflect on life, man. It's been 3 months since we've been here. And, we just went through this hurricane, no power. We've been heating up our water with a grill to take a warm shower at the end of the day. New York City is so expensive. Okay, Manhattan, Brooklyn, all that. Yeah, cities are really expensive. And honestly, even before COVID, I was already burnt out of cities and urban places, man. The way the world is now, the further you are from people, the better off you are. You do need to be near a Waffle House. You do need to be near a McDonald's and a drive-thru and a Walmart and all of the normal things. We don't talk about politics. Fear no evil. We don't talk about politics on this channel. I'm not worried about the White House. I'm worried about the Rodriguez house. I'm worried about my house. What's going on in my house? I don't care about what happens in the White House. That means nothing to me. It's insignificant to me. I don't put my trust is not in a president. I don't trust. My life and my future is not in the hands of who's in the White House. My life and my future is in my hands and how much effort I put into life. So I don't worry about who's in the White House. At least there's some real history in Alabama. Everything in Florida is like built in the 60s and later. There is history here. Unfortunately, that history comes with people just can't seem to get past history. Me Too times are changing better to be in the country. It is time to get out of the cities. As the world becomes more hostile, more uh, just lost, I guess. You do need to be near a wall. Like if you are moving to the country, I would almost say at first I thought, okay, if I rent for 6 months, I'm gonna lose $7,000 to $10,000. So I'm just gonna go ahead and buy right away. And I think you're better off renting for 6 months before you buy a house. Lose the $6,000 or $7,000 in rent because I've already spent $6,000 or $7,000 on unexpected things, and it would have just been better to wait. I think, you know, I think if you're moving, you might want to just spend that if you're able to, right? If you're able, like, let's say you have 100, 200, $300,000, just go ahead and spend $6,000 or $7,000 renting in a place first and feeling it out. Because if you end up in the wrong place, you're gonna spend $6,000 or $7,000 in accommodations that it doesn't really, in the long run, it doesn't pay off. And when it comes to housing, $6,000 makes no difference. Of course, there was when I bought my house, I didn't really have that luxury. Uh, Imagine if more people had left cities with more money, then my $100,000 would have meant nothing. Like at the time that I moved during the middle of COVID, when everybody was afraid to do anything, we got up and we left the state in a time when everybody was terrified to do anything. And people were buying houses sight unseen. People were just buying a house. So I told Katie, you know what? We left Florida and there was 56 houses on the market. The next day, I'm in Dothan, Alabama, and out of the 54 houses we had saved, like only like 4 were available. So I told Katie, I said, we need to buy something immediately. It doesn't even matter as long as it's like inhabitable, superficially looks inhabitable. We just have to buy it. And like literally, the first house that we saw was a very huge disappointment. We had found it on Realtor and we thought this was going to be it. So we're back in Florida thinking this house is going to be it. When we get to the town, we didn't like the town. It looked great on Google Earth, but when we got to the town, there's a few things we didn't like right off the bat. Mostly that it's really hilly terrain there. And I almost threw up just driving to the town. And the commute would have been out of the town, so it just wasn't going to work. Couldn't have told me that through Google Earth. Couldn't have told me that through the Realtor website. Got on the ground, that one didn't work. Then we found a house in Montgomery, in the city of Montgomery. The house, looking back, if we had bought this house, it would have actually worked out good as well, because it was a solid concrete block house in Montgomery with a giant garage. It would have been a great little deal for me. It wouldn't have been bad. The house was older, and older houses have higher maintenance. This house wouldn't have actually been that bad if we had bought it. It would have actually worked out decently if we had bought this house in Montgomery. We signed the papers on the house. We literally bought the house on paper. And then I told the realtor, I'm like, man, And then we looked at one more house. And then basically we threw up the papers and bought in the second house we looked at. It was like we knew when we got here that in a matter of days there was going to be nothing left on the market. And exactly what happened. I mean, we bought our house. And right after we bought our house, there's nothing on the market. Now things are slowly starting to trickle back into the market. I see young people here, they'll buy a house in Alabama for $30,000 or $40,000. And they think, okay, here's a house for $30,000 or $40,000. So you think they're getting a deal. They might think they're getting a deal. But you could give me these houses for free and I wouldn't want them, because once they're done, they're not worth $60,000 or $70,000, but you're going to spend $100,000 to make them livable. Of course, if you're starting from nothing, you might as well buy the property and just have it and live it, especially if you're buying it cash, because it's already money in the bank. You know what I mean? It's already in your pocket, basically. But you know, the more money you have, the more options you have, and the less likely you are to buy something that is of questionable nature. You know what I mean? Like, give you an example. If you're buying a car and you have $30,000 to buy a car, you go to the dealership and you buy a brand new car with a warranty. Yes, you're paying $30,000, but there's no surprises. If you have $10,000, you can still get a car with 100,000 miles, but it's still a few years old. But if you got $3,000 and you're buying a car on Craigslist, you don't know what you're getting. You could buy a car for $3,000, take it home, and transmission breaks the next day, and 1,000 maintenances. Next thing, that $3,000 car is going to cost you $7,000. So the less money you have, the less options you have, the more liabilities you're going to run into. That's why it's kind of sometimes when you get a really affordable property, there's a lot of liabilities with it. And people here don't really care about the cost of things. Like, you can get a really good deal on a gray house here, or you could fix up an old house that will never be worth what you're putting into it. People here don't really care about that. But overall, just to wrap up this live stream, I don't want to make it too long. I'm content with where I'm at. I've made good decisions. We faced a lot of challenges in the process. I mean, from being in Dothan, Alabama, in a hotel with $300 in the bank, waiting and hoping that transaction. We left Florida. When we left Florida, we hadn't even got the proceeds from the house sale, and we had a little bit of money. And there were so many unprecedented things that happened. Like when we sold our house and left Florida, there were so many unprecedented things that happened when we left Florida. Like that, where we had like $3,000. And boom, 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 boom. Houses for sale. They bought the house. Washer breaks. Now we gotta go find another. Like one thing after the other, to the point where we just drove away one day. We hadn't even done the closing yet. We cleaned the house, loaded our stuff. It was 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and we're leaving Florida for Alabama. You know what I mean? Like, we just said, this ain't working. It's time to move along. We get to Dothan, Alabama with $300 in the bank. You know what I mean? And then the money hits the bank. Boom, $110,000 in the bank. And you're like, whoa, all right, let's do this. Let's find a house. We look at the first house. It didn't work out. Then we were scared. It went from like, okay, we got the money. Then we hit the ground. The houses start. Moving is so many possibilities. You know what I mean? Do you have any connections in Alabama when you moved? I have a few connections here. And actually, people I've met on the internet, to be honest, some of them were very misleading. Some of them are still close friends, almost like family at this point. I don't have anybody here in my area. Like where I live now, I don't have anybody. Like, I have business contacts. I have people that have worked for me, and I don't have anybody here. So fear will drive you to work hard. In Florida, I could fall back on 1,000 different people. You know what I mean? Here, I got nothing to fall back on here. If we go hungry, we go hungry. So I'm working harder than I've ever worked my whole life. I got nobody to fall back on. I have nothing to fall back on here. But I needed that. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, there's people here in Alabama. A lot of people here, they'll have 15, 20 houses in a neighborhood that they're all family, or, you have all those people to fall back on. You know what I mean? You're never going to go hungry. You're never going to be homeless. You know what I mean? It's me and Katie. That's it. I talk to my neighbors. You know what I mean? And that's it. Our church services that we do are through the internet. So we just see a bunch of people on a screen that we can't really interact with. It's been very difficult not having anybody around. But it's also very, very convenient. There's nobody to waste my time. Okay, and that's important, because if you're taking up my time now, I'm making money off you. Basically, that's how it goes. In Florida, too many people would waste your time and talk to you, and you wasted a lot of time. Here, my time is more, I'm able to take better advantage of my time here. You know what I mean? Not having anybody around to distract me, not having social things to do. It's basically make money, work, make money, take care of the property, blah, blah, blah. So I feel like by not having that social, not only am I learning how to depend on myself, because even though I'm 30 years old, I've only been an adult for 3 months. You understand me? Y'all hear that? I am 30 years old and I have been an adult for the last 3 months of my life because I have absolutely nobody to fall back on now. It's me, my ambition, my desire to work and to get ahead, and that's it. Look at this right here behind us. You see that monument behind me? Sorry, I got Kate trying to call me. I don't know what she wants, but we're trying to wrap this up here quick. You see that monument behind me? That monument, that's Daniel Pratt. He founded this city right here. See that man right there? Daniel Pratt. He's resting right there. On top of this mountain, he founded this city. This big factory in front of us, all that, that's his gin factory. That's a factory that he founded. The man came here with nothing. He had business partners, and when they heard he was moving to Alabama, they were like, yeah, it's a little backwards in Alabama, so we're not going to invest there with you. So he had all these other business partners that were going to invest with him. But when he said, I'm coming to this site right here, they were like, no, we're not going to support you because you're going out to the middle of nowhere, basically, back in the 18 whatever. The man came and founded a city. Him and his few workers, which were slaves, apparently he treated them fairly well from what history accounts. He wasn't this evil slave master. He apparently, give you guys an idea, here's the city, and his freed slaves were able to build houses within the city limits right by town, which is incredible for Alabama. So anyways, he came here with his people, and he founded this town, and here it is named after him. Nobody might have... You got to have drive to do things. Like, you can't just sit in the town where you were born and say, this is my neighborhood, these are my people, and this is what life's given me. No, like, there's an entire world out there for you to see. You have to step out of your comfort zone. You have to get away from the people you grew up around, because a lot of those people, they're there with you, but they're not there for you. Yes, this town was here before the Civil War. Okay, this is a gin factory. He built a gin factory. The gin is engine. These were the engines that built the machines that were used for the cotton industry. So this was pre-Civil War. This town predates the Civil War, and actually, this town, the economy that this town created was part of the pre-Civil War era. So definitely. Anyways, here's a man that came to this place because there was a creek here, and he said, by this creek, I'm going to build my factory. And boom, here it is, a whole entire town founded by somebody who got out of their comfort zone, hit the world, and saw new things, did new things. That's what you got to do in life. You got to step out of your comfort zone, and you just got to do it, man. You can't stay in that little shell forever. You can't be afraid of getting outside of that shell. You just got to do it. You know what I mean? So I can say that even though I'm 30 years old, I've been an adult for the last 3 months of my life, because now I'm depending solely on me, my endeavors, my desire to live, and I'm not afraid of nothing. I'm not afraid. When I came here, they told me I was going to starve in Alabama. I didn't care if the economy was hard. They told me, let's keep it moving. Let's run back because I got Katie messaging me. What's up, Katie? You good? I'm doing a live stream. Checking it. Yes, I am. I'm talking to 37 people right now. Well, there's something wrong with the phone. But I'll be with you in a minute. I thought something happened or you were calling me. But anyways, guys, there's a world out there to explore. A world of opportunities. They told me that the economy here was horrible in Alabama. I was going to starve. They told me that the whites were going to be racist towards me. Guess what? The whites are the ones that are protecting me. The hillbillies, the rednecks, those are the people that are taking care of me now. Okay? The ones that they told me were going to be out to get me, those are the, I'm actually, I like my little circle here is a bunch of hillbillies and rednecks and mountain people. Those are the ones that are really taking care of me here. Those are the ones that are saying, oh, here's danger. This is how you go about dealing with it. You know what I mean? So everything that I was told about this place was erroneous, wrong. You understand? Everything that I was warned about was wrong. Google was wrong. YouTubers were wrong. Everybody was wrong. Then we encounter fear. Fear will hold you back for as long as you live. And you have got to recognize where you have made mistakes in life so you can learn from them. You give it more time. Look, I recognized my mistakes. The first mistake that I've made, we were teenagers, we got married together. Back then, when we were married, we were small town people. Everybody in my town knew me, even though it was Bonita Springs, Naples. It was small town. Everybody knew me. So we were living the small town. Everybody knows your last name. Everybody knows who you are. We were living that at first. We had our little niche. Our first mistake was laziness. The first 7 to 10 years that me and Katie were together, if we had money, we'd bought rims. If we had money, we'd go on vacation. If we had money, we weren't really endeavoring for anything. We looked at ourselves and said, well, I'm poor. We're never going to own a house. We're never going to... If I could go back to being 18 years old again, I would have started something back then that to this day would still be kicking and bringing in money. You know what I mean? But we didn't do that. When we had $1,000, we went and bought rims. When we had $1,000, we went to Cuba, we went to Kentucky, we went here, we went to Georgia, we went there. We were not thinking long term. Okay? Mistakes that we made as stupid kids. None of that is left over. All that is gone and out of reach. All that is time wasted. We were living, but we were nothing of it. None of it was meaningful. Then we got some money. When we got our money from an inheritance that Katie got, we were actually here in Alabama. You remember, Katie?
Yep.
And it did not cross our minds. And what year was that? 2015?
16.
2016, 4 years ago, we were here in Alabama with an inheritance on vacation. We earned our vacation. That vacation was earned. Okay? Check this out. This person, Rose, says, you guys are doing great. Don't look back. I'm 70 with nothing. So, we were here in Alabama with money, and we loved it. We were here for a business/recreational trip. We were in Alabama, and we were here, and we loved it. And it didn't even cross our minds. Like, it wasn't even an option that, hey, maybe we could live here.
We were talking about how much we loved the houses and how they looked. And
We were in love with Alabama when we came here. We were in Auburn, and we were in all these, we were in central Alabama, and we didn't really, it didn't cross our minds. That was a mistake, because if we had bought then, we would be so much better off now. Not only monetarily, our mental health, our emotional health, our spirituality, every aspect of our lives would have been better. Then the next mistake was buying the house in Florida. We bought the stupid trailer. Then we tried fixing it. Okay, you know why we did that? Because every other stupid person in the place where we lived, that is exactly what they did. Okay, they bought an old stupid trailer because they couldn't afford a house, and then they fixed it up to make it look like a house, because that's how stupid people are. Monkey see, monkey do. We started to do what everybody in our neighborhood was doing. Then here comes this big money baller and says, hey, Jose, I'll give you $120,000 for your property right now. We had 46,000 in the bank, right? 32. How much do we have?
We had already done the concrete.
We had 26,000. We had 26,000, let's say, and 120. We could have got $146,000 in 2016 for a trailer in Naples. 4 years later, we sold it for 107 after we spent another 70,000 on the property. So we went from being able to make. We would have bought a house in Lehigh. Could have bought a house in Lehigh. That house would be worth $200,000. We could have bought a house in Spring Hill. That house would be worth $200,000. You see what I'm telling you guys? Mistake after mistake after mistake, because we were
Stupid.
and afraid. We were afraid to take the leap into the unknown.
Yeah.
We were afraid to leave that little neighborhood. Fear will hold you down for as long as you live. If you don't get out of your comfort zone, fear is a protection to our mind. But if fear is also a driving force that will keep you on your toes, push you forward, propel you into the future. Lose the fear. There's a time when you have to lose the fear and make life-changing decisions in your life, because you could be stuck in that same place without making progress forever. Guys, the phone is already at 10%. I'm going to lose you guys. Hindsight 2020, yeah, you can, but you learn from that. And what we learned, when I looked at my situation,
Yeah.
and I said, man, I could have bought a house in Lehigh for $80,000, and that house right now would be worth $170,000. I can't make this mistake again. So when we got, finally, after 2 years on the market, somebody offered us 110. They offered us 105. We said 110. Then they said 107. I said, put it on paper, bring it to me. When we saw that number, 107, we said, we have to take this check and we have to run. Boom, out of Florida. We did it all. You know, we realized, here's where we failed in the past. We're not going to keep making this same mistake. Then we go out looking for a house. There's nothing left in Florida. Okay? We told ourselves we had to buy a decent house. And there was nothing decent in Florida. It was mobile homes and houses in the hood was all. Either in Jacksonville or Ocala were the cheapest places we could find. And good thing we left that behind, because with the money we had, we would have got nothing in Florida. In Alabama, that kind of money will buy you something decent. So we made some serious decisions. And you have to be decisive. And you have to be willing to leave some things up to chance, and that is very scary.
We had no idea where
we had no idea where we were going. If Alabama hadn't worked out for us, we'd have kept driving to Arkansas or something. We just said, we're going to go out there and we're going to find a new path. I mean, this isn't like, oh, we're going to move to Alabama. It was like, okay, let's just keep driving until we can buy something. You know, until we find a place where we feel comfortable. And with all of its faults and all of its challenges, it was the right thing to do. You know? And, well, that's it. And looking forward to the rest of our lives, it's going to be the same way. If an opportunity pops up, we're going to go for it. Maybe staying where we are longer, or maybe hopping up out here to a different area. We are not going to let fear continue to dictate our life. At the end of the day, you could stay home because there's COVID and get hit by a airplane landing on your house. You know what I mean? Like, you could play it safe your whole life. We're all going to end up in the same place. We're all going to end up right here in a cemetery. Each one of us will end up in a cemetery. And you can leave behind a legacy like this gentleman did. He founded this city. You can leave behind a legacy of somebody who had courage and endeavor to move forward and do something for himself and for other people. Or you can leave behind a legacy of this guy was born here and died here. Didn't really go out there and see the world.
That man came from New Hampshire.
Yeah, he came from New Hampshire.
And he was in Georgia for a while.
Jones County.
He moved around.
Yep.
And that's probably what made him successful. He didn't have that fear of
Yeah,
He lost the fear. He went out. He did stuff.
yeah. If you read the history books, he had business partners that abandoned him when he told them, "I'm going to go to this place in Alabama and start a gin factory." Those business partners abandoned him, but we don't know who those business partners were. They're not in the history books. He is. So that's what it is. You can't be afraid. You just got to keep moving forward. You guys, I've had a beautiful time with you guys on this live stream, talking about all the challenges that we've gone through while moving. It has been we, it has been difficult. We have encountered lots of challenges, but we were decisive. You have to be decisive. If you're thinking about moving, you cannot be on the fence. You need to be decisive. If you're doing this, go for it, wherever you are. And remember that face value and the long-term situation are two different. Face value, something may appear bad and it can be good, and vice versa. Something can appear to be amazing at face value, but in the long run it can be bad. So it's going to be a surprise box for you. Thanks for the honesty. And another thing, last thing I want to say before I leave you guys is I had some serious thinking to do because this is a very judgmental place. In the South, people are very judgmental. And I decided that I'm just going to continue to speak my mind and be outspoken because here there's an unwritten code of silence and basically control. They want to control what you say. Like I've posted stuff on social media here, and immediately they'll take it down, or every comment will be negative. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people here trying to control your mouth. They want to control everything because they have this power tripping mentality where if they're a police officer, they have power, or if they control a Facebook group, they have power. Like there's a lot of people who power trip here. I'm gonna continue to be outspoken, and that can be very dangerous here because here people don't play textbook. People here will do all types of malicious things to try to hurt you. The good old boys, exactly, the good old boys. But we have decided that we're gonna be outspoken, and we're not going to be intimidated. If a police officer wants to catch me and put crack on me and say that I'm a crackhead and put me in jail for 5 years, then so it be. I'm not going to be intimidated by none of these hillbillies and rednecks or stupid people who think because they have some type of authority, they may be able. At the end of the day, you guys know who I am. There's 16,000 people subscribed to my channel. You guys spend hours with me every week. You know what I believe in. And if you know that tomorrow they catch me with a crack rock in my pocket, you know that's not who I am. If I end up, I don't know, beating somebody in traffic or something, you might be able to. You guys know who I am. So if tomorrow they find a crack rock in my pocket, your reputation speaks for you. You know what I mean? So here they like to entrap people. Like I'm not going to mention the case, but there's something on the news where you're like, wow, this person totally got entrapped. There's no way this actually unfolded that way. But that's the way they do here. It's small town. I've decided that I'm not going to be intimidated. You know, my father in Cuba wasn't a communist. He went through 5 years in prison because he didn't want to be a communist. They tried to taint his reputation, but he continued to be who he was. He didn't let that intimidate him. So I've decided that instead of catering to the mind control, the politics of this place, and letting people dictate for me what I'm supposed to say and do, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to continue to be honest for you guys, and if there's some type of consequence for that, we'll find out what it is. But at the end of the day, you guys know me to where if tomorrow Jose had a crack rock in his pocket, you know who to believe because you know me. By now, you guys should know who I am, and you know the type of thing I would do and wouldn't do. So if tomorrow a police officer finds me with something illegal, you guys know me and the type of morals and values that I have. So the story shouldn't convince you. Knowing me should convince you of who I am. So I'm not going to let them intimidate me because there's already the notion that, okay, I'm going to subtly give in to their pressure. So that's the last thing I want to let you guys know before I close this live stream is that we're not going to cave in to the pressure. I'm an outspoken individual. I'm going to continue to be an outspoken individual, and whatever has to be said will be said regardless of what type of mind control or censorship the people in this place want to submit me to. I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm going to stand on my own 2 feet. I'm not going to let you control me. I don't care what, there's a lot of social stigma to not fitting the profile that they want you to fit. I'm not going to fit that profile. I am my own individual. I'm going to continue to be me and continue to give you guys honest things to talk about on this channel. If there's people that are trying to censor me, if they're going to try to threaten me in any way, I'm ready for it. You know what I mean? So it is that, and I'm going to continue to be honest. That is something that this area has tried to take from me, and I'm not going to let it take that from me. I'm not going to let this place change me. I'm going to continue being me. So that doesn't mean that I'm not willing to adapt and change I mean, I have to adapt to the place. I'm not going to come here and try to change the place. That's definitely not the case. But I'm not going to let this place intimidate me. So I'm going to read one last comment and then we're done, guys. Danielle says, those locals have nothing better to do. It's your quality and your safety worth it. Sad enough, there's not much you can do to enlighten them. The new kid on the block receives a lot of press. Exactly. I am the new kid on the block. They have a lot of time on their hands. They're willing to throw their lives away if they have to. But I got too much going for me to throw my life away. You know what I mean? Just because people here are willing to throw their lives away doesn't mean that I'm willing to throw my life away. I got way too much to live for. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like the old saying, misery loves company, you know? But, again, I'm not scared of anything. I've already proven I'm not scared of anything because I left the city to move to Alabama. That already lets you know I ain't scared of crap. So whatever this place has coming at me, throw it at me. But keep in mind, I'm coming from Florida, baby. I'm coming from South Florida at that. So whatever they got coming, it better be good. Love you guys. Stay out of trouble. I hope you guys have a beautiful weekend. And whatever dreams you're trying to go for, whatever it is you are dreaming up in your mind, do not be afraid. Go for it. Be courageous. We're living in times that are difficult regardless. There is no safety in the days we're living in. Everything is uncertain, so don't be afraid. Love you guys. Checking out.